Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down on the opening line at EliteSportsBetting.com. I'll be your host, Benny Ricciardi, and today we're going to talk a little bit of soccer action for the weekend. And whenever I'm talking soccer, I bring in our soccer expert over at Elite Sports Betting and EliteFantasy.com. My man, Nick Frazier, you guys know him better as the Duke. What's going on, bro?
Just another cold day here in Atlanta, Benny. I know you're freezing up there in the great white Northeast, but down here we got that southern blood, man. So if it drops below 50, we're all frozen. So got the sweatshirt on today. Feeling good, though.
What happens when it drops to the low 30s? Because that's what we got over here, and that's why I got the turtleneck sweatshirt on right here at the moment. Because even in the house, it's a little bit chilly.
Yeah, the kids get off school. Bread, water, gone from the grocery store. It is lock up shop. It's a nuclear event down here.
Yeah, and to be honest, I go outside in like a hooded sweatshirt and shovel snow because I guess I'm just used to the cold, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. But I actually wanted to talk to you about something today, and I know you've seen this because I saw you tweet out about it. I actually retweeted it. I saw Mad Lab had it posted as well. The blue pill or the red pill?
Yes.
So for those who don't know what this meme is all about that's out here right now that, we started getting into before the show, and we said, you know what, we should put this on air right now. It's basically a choice that you have, right? You take the blue pill, you get $10 million right now. So whatever age you're at right now, $10 million, boom, in your bank account today. If you take the red pill, you go back to being 6 years old, but you go back to being 6 years old with all the knowledge that you now have at whatever age you are in life. So whether you're 20, whether you're 40, whether you're 60. And I said, there's a lot of layers to this question here, Duke, because before you can answer this, my answer would be different depending on what age I am, where I am in life. Like if I'm 20 years old, I'd probably be like, just give me the $10 million because 20 years old with $10 million, you could live a really, really good life and have a lot of fun right there. If I'm 70 years old, I'm obviously going to go back to 6 because, what the hell am I going to do with $10 million as a 70-year-old close to death at this point in time? But you and I are kind of in that sweet spot, right in the middle of those kind of two ages. And I think it's a very interesting question to somebody who's around our age.
So I'm 36. How old are you, Benny?
I'm 39.
We're right there. For me, the cutoff is 50 years old.
Okay.
If you're 50 or above, I can understand going back to 6 years old. If you're younger than that, you got to hate your life to go back to 6 years old because no matter where you are on the financial spectrum, $10 million is a lot of money. And I remember growing up having just 0 sense of money and watching the game where you're guessing the prize, the morning show, and then you have to go spin the wheel. What the hell's on in the morning?
Price is Right.
With Bob Barker. Price is Right. Okay.
Price is Right.
So I'm watching Price is Right, and these people are winning $35,000, $60,000 prize packages. I'm like, what the hell are you going to do with $60,000? I could use 60 grand right now. I'll tell you that much. So $10 million is going to have me set up pretty well for the rest of my life. And plus, do you remember age 6 to 18 years old? I mean, it's a grind. You can't drink. You certainly can't do drugs. I mean, and plus, what do you really know without Google? What knowledge base do you really have now? I mean, certainly you and I remember sporting events. We could possibly do a Marty McFly situation and gamble our
money. The
almanac,
right.
Where does our bankroll start? How do we convince our parents that these are good investments? Do you really want to be, a 7-year-old peeing your pants on the playground again, Benny?
I don't think I was peeing my pants at 7, but I get.
I heard a story.
I get the point that you're going to. But here's the other flip side of it with the red pill, right? Is you have all the knowledge that you have now. So the question that I asked somebody was like, am I going back to me at 6 in 1986, 87? Or am I going back to being 6 years old today? Because if you're putting me back in 1986, 1987, I'm basically just going to take my $10 allowance every week and just dump it into $20 shares of Apple stock until I'm 20. And then, by the time I'm 35 or 40, like I am now, forget about $10 million. I'll have like $100 million by that point in time.
So here's what I want to know about this, Benny.
Go ahead.
Could 20-year-old Benny survive a $100 million bankroll and just
Oh, absolutely
partying and
not.
living it up, never having to work a day in your life.
20-year-old Benny wouldn't have survived a $500,000.
Exactly. So that's my point.
I almost
motor
didn't
life.
survive on like $5,000 a year I was making as a delivery driver. So forget about if I had 10 million. I mean, this shit would have been crazy.
I'm the same way as you. Look, I was living high on $60,000 a year or whatever I was making coming out of college.
Okay.
If I had $100 million, I would have been hookers and blow and who
think
knows.
about that. I mean, at 20 years old, I was actually still in college. That's what I'm saying. Like at 20 years old, I was working as a delivery driver and going to class, 30 hours a week or whatever the hell you do when you're taking 5 or 6 classes there. I mean, like I said, not kidding. I was literally living on like $200 or $300 a week that I made as a delivery driver. Like that was my job in college, So, like I said, I almost died then with only that much money. So if you gave me 10 million, it would have been the only difference would have been I would have died in a much nicer place than North Delaware. That would have been the only change there.
Well, I mean, as with anything, there's probably no right or wrong answer. It's very specific to each person's individual situation. I like where my life's heading. I don't necessarily want to go back to 6. If it was go back to 21 years old and know everything you know now, I certainly might choose that more so. But 6 years old, no thanks, man.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, listen, but you get to play like youth sports again, Duke, which
honestly, true.
That was one of the best times of my life. Youth sports, high school sports all over again. You get to go, hang out with all your boys in the beach in the summer, high school, no party. I mean, there's upsides and downsides to both of this. I do think it's a good question.
I don't know if you can see this, but you would do what with hookers and blow? The wife is working from home today, getting ready to pop. So apparently I'm screaming too loud. Let's get into the soccer.
Well, you know what? My wife is actually working from home and she's on a business meeting in the other room too. So I know the feeling right now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get yelled at, but it is what it is. Yeah. We're gonna have to do our tennis talk here, our golf talk. We're gonna have to keep it low. But yeah, anyway, like we're here, we're here. We're here to talk a little bit about some soccer this weekend. So I guess we're gonna start on the Saturday morning game like we normally do.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's start with the Saturday morning game. What do you got for us?
So this is a really interesting weekend, Benny. Honestly, coming into Friday shows, I usually have some really strong leans. This is a weekend more so where, I have leans for sure. We're going to talk about 3 different games, starting with that 7:30 game. But I'm probably not going super big on any of these. It's really a kind of a pick-em type weekend. But starting with the 7:30 game, we have Leicester hosting Chelsea. This is an interesting line movement. In that it opened with Chelsea as a slight favorite and has shifted about 40 points depending upon which book you're looking at. So right now it's Chelsea plus 165. I'm finding Leicester anywhere from plus 130 to plus 150. So make sure you're getting a good number there. And that's the side I'm on. I don't know if you know this, Benny, or if you've seen this morning, but today is transfer deadline day. And what that means is there's 2 windows throughout the calendar year where teams can add and sell players. January being one of those windows. Obviously, it's the 31st here over in Great Britain. It ends at 6 p.m., I think, or 8 p.m., so we only have a couple hours left. Frank Lampard just had his press conference. Not a happy man. Looks like a beaten down man, quite honestly. They're not going to bring in the forward they desperately need. Every target that's been rumored, I think, has been an actual target. None of them are coming in. Olivier Giroud, who wanted to leave desperately. I don't know if he's necessarily a headache in the locker room, but certainly too good to be sitting on the bench, is not going to be leaving the club. There's just a lot of things around Chelsea today with the game tomorrow that I'm not loving. So certainly they're a decent team. They can get the job done, but Leicester showed me a lot with their 4-1 win against West Ham. Chelsea are conceding a boatload of goals away. So again, probably a small play, but my lean here is Leicester.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. Chelsea has a lot of talent, but it's also a lot of young talent, and it hasn't really come together this year. I don't know a good example I could give to people who aren't big soccer fans out there, but they're the kind of team that they could beat any team in the league when they play well. And the problem is they go out there and they also could lose to any team in the league because they just have some games where it feels like everybody just kind of disappears. So I feel like they're one of the teams that I've been staying away from because they disappoint you as much as they surprise you. And really, that's the problem with young teams in any sport, right? It's like you never know what you're going to get. When these guys flash that talent that they have and everybody's on, they could put up 4 or 5 goals in a game. And then there's other games where you expect them to put up 3 or 4 goals, and everybody just kind of looks lost, like they're waiting for somebody else to be the guy. And they wind up losing to a team that you figured they should have beat. So
I think you nailed it with that. They're waiting for someone else to be the guy. So they're a mix of extreme youth and, veterans, right? Willian's a veteran. Pedro's been around a while, even though he never plays. Azpilicueta really is the leader, the captain of the team. But you look for those center backs to really guide you forward, right? And I don't love their center backs. I do not like Kepa, their goalkeeper, at all. Why they paid so much money for him, I don't know. I will say David De Gea also looked really, really bad for his first couple of years in the Prem. Kepa is a young player, so maybe we don't judge him too early here, but it's too many inconsistencies. Tammy Abraham is too streaky up top. Mason Mount's been in and out of form. And, by the way, Leicester concedes goals as well. So if you don't want to pick a side here, the total's 2.5 it's pretty juiced on the over. Both teams to score. I don't even know what that's sitting at now, but I'm not exactly necessarily anticipating a clean sheet from Leicester. If they do get that, they're absolutely going to win because they will score. Let me see if I can find that just quick for us here, Benny.
Yeah, and I actually don't mind going that route either because, like I said, the problem with Chelsea right now is they have the talent where they can do some special things and score some goals, but they also are young, and young guys make mistakes. They do stupid stuff. I mean, that's – in any sport that you're talking, that's always something when you have a team that's very young. We always talk about, they need to kind of go through the fire and kind of get themselves there. And I feel like that's where this Chelsea team is at right now. Is like, these guys need to be in those matches. They need to understand how to play so that, when crazy things start happening and, you start getting, the wheels falling off, they have guys that'll be like, all right, we've been here before, not a big deal anymore. Right now, I feel like they don't have those guys.
No, and, they're coming off a transfer ban where they literally couldn't sign players. And so you could just see it in Lampard's face. He was fuming this morning. Clearly doesn't feel backed. They could just be saving up cash for a big move this summer. I'm guessing they'll offload the likes of, Willian and maybe a center back or two and bring in some new faces. But it's going to be a quick turnaround from him and for this team. I mean, they've been together obviously now for 5-6 months. So it's kind of more of the same for the players, but the manager really drives the energy of that team. And by the way, both teams have scored juiced crazy -180. So, I mean, obviously that's the way Vegas feels it's going to happen. If you want to lay the juice and don't want to pick a side, I'd go that route. Otherwise, I'm just leaning Leicester.
Yeah. And, Chelsea's one of those teams where I never want to take them as chalk, right? Like when you have to lay money to get them, I really just don't want to do that. If you're giving me like +180 on them in a matchup where they could, squeeze out a goal or two and come away with the victory, I'd be more likely to take them in that scenario than anytime they're favored by, what are they, -150, -160, something like that?
Yeah, if Chelsea's +165 to win the match right now.
Okay.
And then
at least you're getting plus money on it. That's not horrible. So
no, and they opened as +130, I believe, is what it opened at. As then
that's a three-way. That's the three-way line, right?
That is the three-way line. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, so if you're looking at the draw no bet, you're probably looking at them being minus something, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I never want to take them when they're in that situation because, like I said, they're as likely to give up 3 goals as they are to score 3 goals. And, I'm always going to be looking for them when you can get value out of it, and that's not really value for me. So I'm with you on there. I'd be on the other side of that game. We do have some other games later on in the day that you had in the betting package as well. So let's talk about those real quick.
Yeah, let's go to Liverpool, man. They're hosting Southampton. I mean, what else can we say about Liverpool at this point? They're absolutely insane. 14 straight wins in the Premier League, invincible at home. They aren't really blowing teams out this year, but they almost never feel like they're going to lose. So, I mean, they have 54 goals through 23 games, actually 55 now after their 2-0 win over West Ham. Fired the 3rd most shots, nearly 16 a game. I like Liverpool here in this spot. Southampton had a really good run of form. They're late December, early January, but have backed off the last couple. Here's a caveat. And I'm leaning Liverpool -1.5. And again, this is more of a smaller play. Juiced too high for Liverpool to win. I don't think there's a chance Southampton can win. I'm certainly not taking anything on the draw no bet for the extra juice. So that's why I'm leaning -1.5. But here's the caveat. Southampton have won 4 straight on the road. And those matches were against Crystal Palace, Leicester, Chelsea, and Villa. So 4 decent sides. They've scored in 7 straight matches. They lost 2-1 to Liverpool in the reverse fixture. Now, that was at Southampton. If Southampton can get an early goal here, we might be screwed. Liverpool's certainly capable of 3, but the way I see the game flow going, Liverpool has the ball for probably 65 to 70% of the game. They're creating chances. They're scoring goals. 2-0 wouldn't be shocking. Again, 1-0 wouldn't be shocking in a situation here. So I'm not going heavy on this play, but if I had to play something and not lay a ton of juice, it's Liverpool -1.5.
All right, and this one's in Anfield?
It is.
All right, so yeah, so they're getting him at home this time, which you would think would be a little bit of a better spot there for him. I'd be willing to go with the 1.5 too. What are they? It's really bad, the line for them to win if you're taking it there.
Yeah, it's horrible, and there's a huge issue in that Sadio Mane is out, and so at midweek they brought in Divock Origi. Oxlade-Chamberlain played; he scored a goal.
Right.
They could put Origi to the bench, move Oxlade-Chamberlain up. What they might do is bring in new boy Minamino, who came in from Red Bull Salzburg this transfer window. Haven't been super impressed with him. He's certainly a downgrade from Mane, as is most players in the world. But you're missing one of those three attacking players. So, again, I'm not going super heavy, but Liverpool -345, that's a lot of juice to lay. Could be part of parlays if you want to go that route. But, -1.5 is -125 as well. It's not like it's free play here. So,
yeah. I wouldn't mind throwing that in. Like, if you're going to go with a parlay and you got something else that you like and you want to throw Liverpool in at -345, I really don't see them losing this game, especially at home. But yeah, that's not really the kind of odds we're looking for to put some money in the account before the Super Bowl here.
No, and the tough thing is, like I said, they're really not blowing teams out. Whereas, maybe in years past, they grab a goal and then just keep pushing for the second, third, fourth, fifth goal. With no Mane, it is a slight downgrade in the attacking side of things there, but they've just been so sure defensively. Yep. And Southampton have been getting goals from weird places. Danny Ings went on a run for a while, but Stuart Armstrong's scoring goals. I mean, it's not sustainable. Sold Suarez to Arsenal. Like, I don't know what Southampton's doing at this point. They look like they're going to be safe, and so maybe the foot's been taken off the pedal a little bit, but they're not home yet.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's a Liverpool one. Anything else you're looking at in that, that mid window there?
I got an either or for you, and this relies solely on one player, Buendia from Norwich. So Newcastle's hosting Norwich. I actually like Newcastle to win if Buendia does not play. If Buendia plays, I'm going to shift my bet to over 2.5, which is at +105 at the moment. He's crucial. He's that crucial to the Norwich attack. You could also go both teams to score. This could be like a 1-1 type of game. It wouldn't shock me. Newcastle struggle to score themselves, but it is at home. Norwich, desperate for points, almost to the point where they're going to be relegated here mathematically if they don't soon. So we should see two attacking sides who lack attacking ability. So that's the only thing. Buendia adds that much. He gives so much service to Pukki up top. Cantwell looks like he is going to play, who was a doubt midweek, so that's a plus for Norwich.
Okay.
Moran's found his feet a little bit. Andy Carroll might play for Newcastle. So a lot of fitness issues for this game. But when I'm looking at the rest of the board, Benny, there's not a ton I like. And so this is that third game on the list where we got to get some money down, right? We got to get some more bankroll for Sunday. So depending upon where Buendia falls, we'll go with Newcastle to win, or if he doesn't play, if he does play, then we'll do the over 2.5.
All right, so this is one that we're going to kind of queue up and wait until we get some lineups announced on Saturday morning, right? That's basically when we should be dropping this one.
Correct. That's correct. And I do have an official announcement. I'm retired from round robins.
Okay.
Liverpool was up 2-0, right? So Newcastle was part of our 4-team round robin. I don't even know if we talked about this on the opening line or not, Benny. It's all running together. We do so many shows here, but I had a 4-team round robin. Newcastle was really the doubt for me, right? The other 3 were guaranteed wins. Newcastle misses several chances inside the 6-yard box. Joelinton does a bicycle kick and he doesn't need to, puts it in row Z from the 6-yard box. So they draw, which is as good as a loss for us, right? Doesn't help us at all. So all we have to do is win the next 3 games. We win the first 2. All we have left is Liverpool. They're up 2-0 in the 65th minute. I literally turned the game off because they're cruising. Jump in the chat later, 2-2. There's 2 of our 4 legs lost, another 4.5 units down. I'm done. Round robins are done.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, we'll take them off. We got plenty of other ways to get money down, though, if we need to. So, I mean, those are the 3 you wanted to talk about. Was there any other ones you wanted to mention here, or is that it for this week?
I do like City on Sunday against Spurs. It's not an official bet for me yet. I think Spurs have made some really good moves in the transfer window. I think long-term, that'll be good for them. Implementing Gedson Fernandez and others in a couple days isn't really going to happen. So they're kind of stuck with what they have, lacking that number 9 since Harry Kane's gone out. I do like Steve Bergwijn. I do like Gedson Fernandez. I do like them more next year than in the next 6 months. For Sunday, I like City to win.
All right, so Duke, I'm going to put you on the spot here with one, right?
Give it to me.
One thing I like to do when you're trying to get a little bit of boost of money, and I got a couple extra bucks that I could fool around with in the account. You got like a first goal scorer or a guy that we could parlay with like a score and an over where we could catch like a 4-1, 5-1 payout on something here for this weekend?
I tell you what, if Divock Origi does start for Liverpool, I
Mhm.
don't hate that at all. I think a lot of what Southampton's going to do, they play with 3 in the back and then 2 wing backs.
Okay.
So it's going to be kind of 3v3 with the 3 attacking players from Liverpool, but then some help from those outside sides. I'm guessing their defense shifts quite a bit to Mo Salah and Bobby Firmino. So on the middle and the right side of that attack, left side of Southampton's defense. Considering TAA, Trent Alexander-Arnold's coming down the right side as well, I think a goal is going to come on the back side of that attacking formation. So whoever lines up at that left wing, whether it's Minamino, which I don't love, or Origi, take a stab there.
All right, so now would you take that stab on first goal, or would you take that stab like 2 score along with Liverpool parlayed or something like that?
The option 2 there, yeah. 2.
Okay.
I mean, your odds are obviously going to be huge if you do take first goal, but it could come from anywhere. It could get a fluky Southampton goal, so I'll just take an anytime goal there.
Yeah, I was talking a lot about that this week with touchdown props for the Super Bowl too. It's like, everybody wants to hit that first touchdown because everything's juiced up and you can get, plus 500, plus 600 on it. But I'm like, really? That's, when you're doing your analysis, you can kind of figure guys or project guys for a touchdown or, close to a touchdown per game or something, but you can never really project who's going to be the first guy. They could run the ball all the way down the field and then it becomes play action inside the 10 and the touchdown is like the third string tight end sneaking out the backside or something like that.
It could get a fat guy touchdown, an eligible lineman reports and then
Or like the other day when we played the AC Milan game and I took, Ibrahimovic for the first goal and he fucking kicks one from like the 6-yard line over the goal. And then the next goal was basically him setting somebody else up beautifully where literally you or I at our age and our athletic ability right now could have ran on and just put our foot out and knocked that one in. So, stuff like that is fluky sometimes. As you get a guy who should be the goal scorer and he misses an easy one. Then, he makes a great play that he could have scored on, but instead he sets up one of his teammates and, now your first goal bet is down the drain. So I do like the idea of going with the 2 score and parlaying it with, like a Liverpool or something and putting it in there. Even if it gets you 2 or 3x on your money, you throw a couple $100 on it, you wind up with, $1,000 and then you got some serious money that you can make a score with on the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl Sunday out there. We had a good show yesterday on the opening line. They talked a lot of Super Bowl stuff. On Lunch Money over at Elite Sports Betting. So, if you guys didn't watch that, go check it out. Rob Pizzola was on with us, one of the more astute sports betting guys that I know, along with all of our experts, Tommy, MLB Model. I think Frank and Paulie were on there with him too. Paulie had a big golf bet that he gave out for everybody yesterday that hit. Made a lot of money for the Mafia out there. So anybody who watched the show, make sure you shoot Paulie a thank you for that one. And, that's about it. Anything you want to add here before we sign off?
I'm glad you mentioned that AC Milan game, Benny. We have a ton of new subs over at EliteSportsBetting.com, and they're new to soccer betting as well. So if you're new to soccer betting, understand this. You are going to be frustrated. That's just the way the game works. Like Benny mentioned specifically, we had a huge bet on Milan to win in regulation. Zlatan misses an unmissable shot, especially for someone of his ability. Now, look, we made most of that money back with a win in full-time or extra time, So, that kind of evens out, but the frustration's there. All we can do is consistently be on the right side of the bet and getting good chances to score. Over time, that will even out. So I get your short-term frustration, but understand long-term, you're with the right guy here. So just trust me, we'll make some money, come have some fun.
Yeah. So for Duke, this is Benny, and this has been another episode of The Opening Line at EliteSportsBetting.com.